Alright, we're good. Ready to go? Alright, we solid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 17, right? Sheesh. The 17 of the Lucrative Business Podcast.
Ready.
A lot of feedback, but yeah, we're here. I'm joined by Rudy Aguilar and Walter Ogindo. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Yo.
We in the building.
We in the damn building. So,
Definitely.
Walter, Gordon
Yes, sir.
Hayward left you to see for Charlotte. What happened? Are you happy about that? He wasn't the right fit for you
I'm
guys?
not happy. I'm not sad. It's just what you call it. You gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, I get you. You got Tristan Thompson, though, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. I'm not sad about that too. But since we got rid of like Ennis Can or somebody else, I'm okay with it because we need a big man. We can't get rid of these people. I do like the Jeff Teague signing though.
Jeff Teague, yeah, good veteran presence on the backcourt, so running the show.
Then they was trying to get somebody else, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this. Who was it? I forgot.
You were rumored to send somebody else. I forgot who.
That was Paul Millsap, but he didn't want to move his family.
No, I get that.
Yeah, because he was a bunch of it, and that was like his main decision. Like he just want to go jump move his family and shit.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for Harden to come to Brooklyn. I don't know when that's happening.
man, what happened to that guy? I told you we ain't trusting no niggas we don't know.
Listen, he's the one that was stirring the rumor that KD was coming when he came to us. He was like the first one to break that story, so I thought he was credible. But now it's rumored that Brooklyn's moving on and rolling with what they have right now, which I don't hate because I do like the depth. I like Dinwiddie. I like LeVert, Allen. That's good depth right there. So I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. Either way, I'm happy. To think that as a Net fan, after what the hell happened with the KG Pierce trade and then what happened after, to be in this position right now is like, I can't even believe it. Honestly, we got KD and Kyrie on my team. Like, I can't believe it. Honestly. Bro, those dark years, man, with Brook Lopez, man. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I think it was the management because Brook Lopez is. Okay.
No, he's nice. It was just when he was on the team, we were trash. It's because we had no draft picks, because we gave it all to you guys. You're welcome. And we had like no future. And then once we had Sean Marks, we hired Sean Marks, we hired Atkinson, and then they built the project, and we're in a great position now. It's beautiful, honestly. But honestly, it's a championship or bust this season with the Nets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but hopefully you guys won't, come up short.
I don't know, but you should have a championship. I don't think if you lose, it's a bust. But it's like, ever since Bron and them lost that first year, it's like, okay, you can see that shit happening when you went to Miami.
You think we have to gel? I mean, obviously, we kind of have to gel just because the season is starting so late, and this is going to be a condensed season, like 72 games, right? Starting in December, and that's going to be so much games, so many back-to-back games, so it's going to be a quick turnaround. And I don't know how KD's going to be. I don't know what KD was going to show up this season. I don't know.
I feel like he's going to be fine, though, because, like, Achilles injury is devastating, but, like, the way he plays, like...
He's a sharpshooter first, right?
Yeah, like, even, like, if you can't dunk it, shit, like, nobody blocking that shit when he's shooting it.
That's like almost 7. He is 7 foot, right? Or is he, like, 6'11"?
Might be 7 feet.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, he's probably 7 foot. But, like, he'll, like, dribble, move without the ball, so he'll be all right.
I just knowing our luck as fucking the Nets, I don't know. I just worry because I have PTSD with this team. So
I would worry more about like Kyrie than KD.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Honestly, I hope Kyrie doesn't fuck up anything. I know how he is. I saw what he did in Boston. I'm not oblivious to it. So
I think some of that stuff is like overplayed, but The only thing like you have to worry about with KD, maybe like his defense. Like other than that, should be fine. Like I don't know.
I hope so. I just know our depth is gonna be really good because if we have freaking Dinwiddie and Liver coming off the bench, I mean, I feel like that.
Yeah, because KD had a long time to recover.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw him? 2019.
Which who? KD. Yeah, the finals.
That's what it was. Almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, so I feel like he'll be alright.
I hope so. I really do. Honestly. But with Boston, man, what do you guys expect for this season? Oh shit, he's almost scored. My fault. Hold on. Yeah. So what do you expect with Boston this year?
What I expect every year, nigga, get to that chip, man.
Get to the chip.
Go ahead. You know what I mean? We still got Tatum.
What's their weakness? Obviously, do you think another year with Tatum, do you think he's going to be taking the next step to, like, actually be the guy? I mean, he's already the guy, but, you know, his first season, he went to the conference finals, almost beat LeBron in Game 7. And then
if we can get like another player to like replace like Hayward, and then like maybe like another big man, even though we just signed Tristan Thompson, it would be alright. Because we still got Kemba, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum. Just added
Kemba.
He was injured, so he played inconsistent. So it was the first year he was inconsistent.
Because a lot of Celtic fans were really disappointed in him last year. They said he wasn't that great in the playoffs. Well, actually, it was like he wasn't that great coming out of the bubble. That's what it was. And I guess maybe they were like, well, maybe he doesn't fit. I heard he was in a trade rumor this offseason, but I didn't believe into it, but I guess.
Yeah, the trade rumor was like Kemba for Drew Holiday. I'm like, fam, that didn't even sound right.
Drew Holiday.
The Celtics were trying to get Drew Holiday, but I think they were trying to use Gordon Hayward together.
Right.
But like, that shit didn't even make sense to me. Kemba for Drew Holiday. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. John, where you at?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I was about to say.
Officially a Suns fan, or I would say a fake Suns fan. So, but man, you know, so I wanted to find the team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, I want to find a team, right, to get to become a fan of at the NBA, right? But come on, like, what? I'm going to just jump on the Lakers or like what Warriors? Or nah, I want to find an unorthodox team, right?
Or you could have stayed with the Celtics, or I mean, I thought you were a Celtics fan.
Yeah, like back in the day, I was more of like a KG fan. Yeah, KG was my favorite player.
You seem like a KG personality, so I understand.
Yeah, that was my guy. That was some realness I've never seen before. So I was taken aback.
Yeah, I respect him in Brooklyn. He was like the only player to show up. Paul Pierce was the one and done with us. He was talking trash about us after, so fuck him all day. But I respect KG.
But I like the moves the Lakers did, man. You know what I mean? They got back right to it. You know, they lost the White. They got Montrezl Harrell. I think they're trying to sign Marc Gasol.
I think they brought back
Marc Gasol. Yeah, brought back Casey. Nah, hold on. We got to talk about that. They got the bag, boy.
Son got the bag. He deserved it. He was the one balling, except for...
But nah. 3 years, $40 million? That's the Rich Paul effect right there. Ain't nobody else is going to get him that money.
Balling. He was balling last year. I feel like he deserved it.
I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but that still is a lot of money, like more than most people would give him. That's what I'm saying. That's the Rich Paul effect right there. Huh?
How old is he?
Probably less than 30.
So, I mean, he'll still be in his prime. Well, he'll still be in his prime.
He's 27.
He won't be bad. I don't think it'll be a bad contract.
He's an average player. Like, so, I mean, I don't know what he averaged last year, but like, he probably average 12, 13 next year.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll be back. Keep going, John. John, where you at? Oh.
I'm here.
All right, I'll be back. Hold on.
Definitely. Yeah, man. So, I mean, obviously, you see your Celtics, right? Just being in contention. I know a lot of people were putting on a lot of heat on Brad Stevens. I think it was last year, a couple years ago. But I think I don't know what they got going over there in Boston because they're always in contention. To be honest.
Yo, niggas just hate Boston. I don't be listening to this type of stuff. That's what I'm saying. They just like media and everything like that. Let's wait and see what actually happens. People hate Boston, but our team be better than theirs.
No, definitely. Because like, come on, like when did Tatum and them get drafted? What 2018, 2017?
Tatum got drafted in 2018. So Jaylen Brown got drafted 2017, I think.
Yeah, and then ever since they got into the league, they've been in what? They haven't missed the playoffs at all. What? I don't think they haven't went no lower than the what, second round, third round.
I don't think Jaylen Brown was in the playoffs his first year.
Oh, Jaylen Brown got there first. They got there at the same
He was
time.
on the team first, but I don't think they were on the playoffs that year. He got drafted 2016, I think. So they weren't in the playoffs. I think it was the next year they were in the playoffs.
Wait, was because I know there was one year where they made it with Isaiah, right? Isaiah Thomas was like averaging almost 30 a game, and then what? They didn't make it the year after, and then.
No, so the first year Isaiah was there, I don't think we made it. Then the second year we made it. That was the year Isaiah was going crazy.
Okay, bet. All right, now we're on the same page. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm late, guys.
Now you're good.
That's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
What's good with you?
Yeah.
What's
goody, man?
Not much, man. Not much. What a hell of an afternoon. Rudy knows.
Oh, what happened? Oh, because of Arsenal, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't lose.
You did win?
Leeds should have won. I'm sorry.
They should have. They should have won. But like, look, I'm happy to come away with a draw, and hopefully Saka's okay. That's all that matters. Man.
Pepe with the red card. Why? Honestly, why?
So stupid,
why?
Man. Like for no reason at all. That's the thing, right? Everyone was calling for Pepe to start.
It does that garbage.
And he does that. And honestly, I think.
How would a striker get a red card?
Well, he was like. Somebody. He didn't really headbutt him, but like, you know what I mean? It was just like, how do you even say? Like he went head to head with somebody, and with soccer, if you like try to do that and you kind of move your head even slightly in the direction of the player, they'll send you off because it's considered violent conduct. But really, the player made the most out of it. But it's still a red card. It's still stupid. It's still something you shouldn't do.
That happens in all sports. Flopping happens in all sports where it looks crazier than it actually is.
You can't really blame the players because the rules are the rules, right? And the referees look at them and they interpret them by the book. So it's a shame. But man, this is the life of
Cause you should have been there. You should have been friends with us when there was one year where it was the Packers and the Cowboys, and that whole NFL for like 2 weeks was trying to figure out what a catch was.
What a catch?
Yes, a catch. CACTH. Oh no, I spelled that wrong too. Did I? Wow.
CTH.
CH what? A catch? Can you explain to me what that is?
A catch? Like catching the football?
Catching the football? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. Was it a? I don't even know.
Oh no.
Was it a catch? Was it not?
So there was a football player, right, by the name of Des Bryant, right? He was making a football play. He caught the ball, right? Was fighting off a defender and was fighting to get into the end zone. From what I saw, from my interpretation, it looked like he got it, right? It was a catch, but it was all. It looked like it was all in one motion that the refs kind of questioned it, and they ended up overturning it.
Wait, what? Wait, so he did catch the ball, did get to the end zone, but the refs didn't believe their eyes, so they didn't give it? Is that what you said? Like, there's no way he just did that. No, we're not giving it. fake news. Is that what happened?
No, because it was a controversial play, right? So to me, I thought it was a catch, but I think I forgot. Do you remember? I don't know if he dropped it as he was going down or something.
It was like the motion of which was coming down. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was something about the motion that was coming down. It was something weird, bro. But to me, it looked like it was a catch. He extended, his arm, got to the end zone, bada bing, bada boom. But I don't know. And,
so basically, in football, you kind of have to have control of the ball. Like, in order for it to be a catch, you have to have control of the ball, right? Pretty much, right? Like, it can't be like, you can't just hold on to the ball and then as soon as you get to the end zone, drop it, right? Really? You have to explain this to me because I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You guys...
Like, yo, Rudy, who was it that predicted that the Hawks might make the playoffs?
The who?
Is Rudy here?
I don't know.
Oh, he's not here now because on the NBA, that one time someone predicted that the Hawks would make the playoffs. They're not a good team, but they just got some players. I'm like, they might make it now.
Man, you see, that's the thing with the NBA. The fact that there's just 5 players on the court at the same time, it means that like just one person can literally change what you think the team is going to do. One person, right?
Well, not one person. There's a couple pieces. There's more pieces. So the pieces together is what making me think. Like, hold up, they might actually make the playoffs. But then the guy that they signed, the team that he's on, can match the offer, so they have to wait to see if they will.
The Hawks are Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did he even go? Did he just disappear?
Rudy? Yeah.
Rudy, you there?
He said he's coming back, but then she didn't leave immediately, so I think he left right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Yeah, but we still recorded, so we still good.
Okay. Yeah. But it's a tough Sunday for me, man. I really wanted us to win this game, man. We really should have won this. This one is like, it's like masochism, torture, right? You go into each game and it's like your day is going to be ruled by what this result is going to be, basically. If it's a good one, then you're going to have a good day. Food's going to taste better, If you're having sex later, it's going to feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is better when your team wins. But then when they lose, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. For me, it depends because it's like, obviously I watch basketball because my football team sucks. But if it's like a regular game they lose, I don't really care. If it's like in a point game or a playoff game, that's when I care.
Yeah. Wait.
What was it, like a versus a big team or just a regular team? They playing?
Well, it was again. I think that the big difference, between soccer and American sports is that it doesn't matter what team you're playing, every game matters. Every game matters. You know what I'm saying? So because every game is 3 points. And if you win a game, you gain 3 points. It doesn't matter if it's against a team that's really good or a team that's really bad, you still gain 3 points. So if you drop points against a team that you should be beating, it's even worse than dropping points against a team that, like, you know what I'm saying, maybe we could have seen you losing against, right? Because it puts you lower and lower down in the table. And at the end of the year, that really matters. I think with American sports, since you guys have like a regular season, which doesn't really, it matters, yes, because it gets you into the playoffs, but it doesn't really matter. It's the playoffs that's the big thing, right? It's the playoffs that everybody for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really that way. I mean, there are competitions, but those are separate competitions. The league, you have to go game by game, and you have to win. You have 38 games to try and finish as high as possible up in the table.
That's the thing.
Oh, no,
For you guys to get back to your that I don't know, that top four. I don't know, that top four dominance that you guys had.
Yeah, I mean
Just competing.
that's gone for a little while. Because nowadays they're just so much better. They're so competitive that they don't give you an inch. Like even the teams that you would have in the past said would easily just be finishing mid-table, now they're challenging at the very top. You know what I mean? Because the quality's gone up and the level of players gone up. All of the managers are way better. Like I think the best managers in Europe now manage in the Premier League. This is the first time that I've been able to say all of the best managers, or most of the best managers in Europe, manage in the Premier League. Right? So now you have the highest level of competition. Before you would have like one or two great managers in the Prem, and a few in La Liga, then you would have a few in Germany. But now everyone wants the Prem. So the Prem is like becoming the main league, kind of like the way the NBA is for basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
it's becoming like.
But the thing for me, I don't know if it started or that transition happened once. What was Klopp came from? What, the Borussia? Who?
Yeah.
Conte was at Chelsea. I think one time it was Conte. Mourinho at Man United. Conte at Chelsea, and who's that Man City right now?
Guardiola.
Yeah, Guardiola.
Yeah, and for a while those were like the three top managers in the league. But now, I mean, there's even managers that like nobody had ever really been checking for, but all of a sudden you see that teams play, you're like, oh, who's this? And like, I never used to think of managers that way. Like whenever you, like, especially in the middle of the table or the bottom of the table, they would have like these crap managers, these like English managers that don't really have any imagination. They play like such a simple formation, and they just try to play long ball. They don't have the quality of players to play good football. But not everybody has the quality of the bottom team can play you off the park. Any
given Sunday.
Maybe not. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's and that just means that like Arsenal, we're not guaranteed fourth spot the way we were before, right? Because you would say the best teams in England right now are Manchester City. Well, not even, because Manchester City has 12 points. they lost their last game, and they have 12 points, and then they're level on points with Arsenal, and we're not doing very well. But Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, I would say are the top four teams, right? That you would expect to finish there by the end of the season. The rest of them, man, but any one of those teams can drop off. Manchester United isn't there; we're very far off from there. We're not there; we're kind of far off from there as well. It's just tough, man. It's tough. And we need to get there. We do need to get there. Because Arsenal deserves it. Well, it doesn't deserve to, but it should be in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And
it's just like my bad for interrupting you, but it just has to like, because I'm just thinking about like, to be a fan of like the only club to go undefeated in the Prem.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna have expectations. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have, obviously like reliving the glory days and things like that, right? So I know as a fan, like I'm about now, like wishing, but like at some point you feel like, you know what, there's prestige to this club, and we're gonna get back to where we are. I mean, where we were once.
And the thing is, the thing that frustrates Arsenal fans, right, is like when we went undefeated in the Prem, we were in Highbury. That's like the old stadium that Arsenal used to play at, right? That's the legendary old stadium they used to play at, where the crowd was right on top of the pitch. You know what I mean? You could like, if you were taking a throw in, you could literally like that. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. Like that atmosphere. So any away fans would come into that stadium, immediately feel it. And then the players, they had character, they had personality, they're big and strong, and knew how to like to take a game by the for the neck and win it for the team. And now the idea with us moving to the Emirates is that we would have larger crowds because Arsenal's fan base had increased, and we would be able to compete on the same level as European giants like Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and teams like that. The exact opposite has happened, right? So we've gone from being this giant club, moved to stadiums, and now we're just. I mean, it's not like we're not winning things. We're still winning FA Cups and things like that. But like,
yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, that's a flex to have the most. Even in your down years, you're still winning.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal actually has the most FA Cups in the Premier League.
Yeah, I know. That's a fact.
It has the most. But like, it's just, like the teams we're comparing ourselves, they're doing way better than us. Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool.
That's today?
Huh?
Yep, this is hot.
Yo, John, you can't talk to other people when you're on the mic, my guy.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. My bad. We'll get better at that. I'm gonna write that in my notes. My bad.
Huh?
So I'm gonna write that in my notes.
You'll write it in your notes? Yes. Yeah, it's just, yeah. But like, you know, the thing is, I don't really know how to see Arsenal because I think we're moving in the right direction in terms of like, we've got the right manager, we've got a group of players that obviously want to fight, but we don't necessarily have the quality that we to make that step up, right? So we need to go out and sign players in order to have the team that this manager deserves. Other clubs have, maybe they might have a worse manager, but they have all the players there, right? Tomorrow they could like for example, you look at Manchester United, yeah? They have great players, but their manager's shit. If they go and sack this manager and hire a good manager, they're back challenging, just like that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I don't know where to place them, really, in that.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because the thing with me, from the outside looking in, is that I'll see, right, that you guys made the manager switch, right? So I used to pull up every week where it was like, hey, get Wenger out of here, obviously respectfully because you guys respect what he's done. But
yeah,
I remember you guys made that change finally, right? Then you guys got Unai Emery, right? He was making good adjustments, doing great things. And I fell off a little bit. So I was like, all right, cool. They finally got a manager.
It didn't just fall off a little bit. It fell off fast.
No, I fell off from keeping up with the team, and then I found out how far you guys fell off, and I'm just confused, right? From obviously as a casual.
Yeah, just an observer. Yeah, because it was after I remember that season. Yeah, we were doing quite well. We went on this big unbeaten run. We got to the Europa League final and lost badly in that Europa League final. Chelsea. They beat us like 4-1. I think Olivier Giroud got like he had the game of his life. I don't know if he had 2 goals in that game, but him and Hazard basically tore us a new one. And then ever since then, it was just the writing was on the wall for him, for Unai Emery, because he couldn't win a game. We were drawing games. Teams were just like opening us up at will. Like the players didn't seem to fully even understand him, let alone trust him. You know what I'm saying? So like after a while, it just became really, really toxic. And then we got rid of him. I think too late, personally. I think we should have gotten rid of him for the Christmas period. Because I remember I remember when was it? Yeah. Anyway, like before, like the Christmas period in the Premier League, for people that don't know, is the most busy period in like in the entire calendar year for the Premier League because the games are played every 3 days. Right, every 3 days you have a new game. The Champions League takes a break between what is it, November and January. It starts back up in January. All European competitions do that. And then you just have Premier League game after Premier League game after Premier League game, all throughout Christmas, Boxing Day, one after the other. And it's very, very difficult if you're bringing in a new manager. They can't really put their style into effect there because you have very little time on the training ground because you're playing a game and then you don't even have rest. You're playing another game.
Yeah.
So, but if Unai Emery had gotten sacked earlier, I think we would have had Arteta's ideas a lot earlier, and we might have finished higher up the table. We might have even been able to scrape the top four. Because if Man United got third place, and I think they finished with like 63 points, which is ridiculously low to get to fourth place. Yeah. Yeah. And if they managed to do it, just because they had a run of games, we could have easily gotten in there. We could have easily gotten in there. And if we had, it just changes what you can do in the transfer market because team or players want to go into a team that is in the Champions League because they want to play at the highest level, and the highest level is European champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, enough that. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I came in late for the discussion.
It's cool because today was going to be a casual day. We're mainly going to be talking about free agent stuff and stuff like that. I also wanted to get into how you guys feel about the desk has kind of settled. It's kind of official that, well, not kind of, it's official that obviously Joe Biden has won. I guess they're having a hard time getting Trump out of office or something like that.
I think it's a. Huh?
You said what was it?
Go ahead.
I think it's a big shame, right, for Trump supporters, really, because I'm sure there's a lot of Trump supporters because that are intelligent people, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of Joe Biden or same thing.
Yeah, but the way that he's tried to hold on to power. That's like, I mean, people don't like to compare Donald Trump to Hitler, and if you compare Donald Trump to Hitler, you get accused of, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, right? It's like, oh, because you don't like the man, you're just going to criticize him at every opportunity. But when somebody is trying by force to hold on to power, when he knows that he didn't win that election, what do you call that? I mean, the guy is literally trying. He's literally trying to create a dictatorship.
I mean,
I think. Or what do you think? What do you guys think?
I think Trump just bullshit. He knows he ain't win. He's just trying to. I don't know what he's trying to do. But like, I don't think like anything's really gonna happen. Like, it's not like he's really actually out here saying like, yo, he's not gonna leave or whatever. If that happens, they're gonna do something about it.
Dude, he is saying that.
Because but even then, they're going to court for all these things. The judges are saying like, "Yo, fam, you're not recovering any proof. Like, this is some bullshit." Most of the things are getting dismissed.
I mean, yeah, they're dismissing it, but he fully is like the fact that he's trying so hard shows you what his intentions are, and it's to perform a coup.
He's not really gonna do it,
huh?
He's not. No one's. They're not gonna let him do it. Like, there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be in that to let him do it. Oh, cool.
Yeah, but they won't. But the issue now becomes because he's kind of played out this whole conspiracy theory angle throughout his candidacy and his presidency, and now he's even playing it up to suggest that they're trying to steal an election from him that he won. There's a huge number of people that get, you know, there's a huge number of people that will listen to what he's saying and believe it, and that's a concern because that divides people.
No, you're right, but also at the same time, we have to be fully accountable, right? I think that's something that we all have to do as just individuals starting 2020, right? Just being accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But also people also accountable for their mind, right? Right? You have to be able to, logically think, right? And if you do make that mistake, be able to, obviously admit that you made that mistake and rectify it. But just to say that one man just has all control or influence or power just over how you think and how you do things. Yes, I understand there's a power of influence, but also at the same time you also have to be mentally aware of just being balanced and not just automatically just listening to someone.
You're right, and I agree with you. But the reality is that's unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's true.
So, like, if you're somebody that's big and powerful and has that level, I would expect you to be a little with that influence, right? Because that's what a president should be. That's what a president should do. Like when, love him or hate him, Barack Obama, you might not necessarily agree or disagree with every single thing that he's done, that he did. But one thing that I liked about his leadership was he was always putting forth a unifying message. Always. It was all about reaching across the aisle, working with Republicans. But like the entire 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency has been everything that's wrong with this country is the Democrats' fault. And you don't get anywhere that way because you need somebody in power that's able to work with everybody that's in government. If you're going to be the president, you're going to be the head honcho, you understand? And for you to undermine or to use your power and influence to try and undermine democracy, I think everybody should be able to see through that. But it seems like everybody's just like, because being a Democrat and a Republican is almost like,
it's just like Bloods and Crips.
It's kind of like being a sports fan, right? Like me, I love Arsenal, right? You can never convince me not to love my club. But if I had that same perspective about my politics, that would make me very closed-minded.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like that. They wouldn't necessarily, like, if you gave them a choice of every single Republican candidate, to represent them, they probably wouldn't choose Trump. But since Trump is the guy, they have to back him all the way. They have to, regardless of what he does. They have to.
Yeah.
Because they've committed their lives to this party.
Yeah. Which I have fun with that.
But even with Trump not conceding, the most major problem is a transition of power. Like, is Joe Biden getting the information that he needs to get?
Yeah, that's a huge element. I'm glad you.
Wow.
Because what you call it? Oh no, what you gonna say?
Yeah, usually between the time that a person becomes president-elect to the inauguration is usually a time that the ground is laid out for him to put his agenda in place and to make sure to get briefed on certain things. Like Trump should be aiding the transition. Right? That's what a president should do. He should be aiding the transition of power. But Trump is trying to sabotage, essentially. Right?
Yeah.
And it's obvious.
Yo, John, man, you got a lot of noise in your background. You can't go in another room?
I am in the other room. Let me see.
Damn. Yeah, but not because even what you call it, I was reading something the other day and they were saying that 9/11 could have possibly prevented it, but then it was problems with transition of power. It was delayed or something like that.
Oh, because of the transit, like it wasn't a smooth transition of power. Is that what it was?
Yeah, 'cause I think because of that Bush versus Gore thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was happening back then, 2000. Yeah.
2001. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the comparisons between this election and the Bush versus Gore one, they're a little bit. They're not the same, right? Because
At all.
in Bush versus Gore, it was like what 500 votes in one state essentially that they were arguing over, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, like some more or less like 500 votes in one state. This is like even if Trump got like if he had won one of the places that he was contending, it still wouldn't have meant that he would have won the election.
No, if he won Pennsylvania, he would have won.
Pennsylvania? Just
Yeah.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, he needed Pennsylvania to win. That was like the main thing.
Oh, okay.
For Trump or for
both of them? Whoever won Pennsylvania basically like won the election. Stuff like because all the swing states and stuff like that. Also, him winning Arizona and Georgia helped Joe Biden too. Hello?
no, yeah, I hear you.
Oh no, because I thought you were gonna say something because I interrupted you. That's why.
Oh no, I was gonna ask. I know we ask about like do predictions on here, and we'll never stop. But like what do you think is probably like one of the most immediate like changes that you're gonna see happening within the next like? Because obviously, like we're starting our new decade, right? And I just like it's hitting me, right? Because we know how 2010 started and how it ends. So how you think? What do you think we're going to be in 2030? You know, like what do you think is probably going to be the first thing that's maybe events, maybe changes technology wise, right? Because we went through a like technology, like it was like throw up of technology from 2010 to like right now. Like we got the Vine, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, I think it's very tough to. It's very tough to predict because 10 years is a very long time, especially nowadays, right? So much can happen in 10 years, and way more can happen in the next 10 years than happened in the last 10 years. Like the level of change, I don't even think we can wrap our head around it, to be honest. I don't think we can. You know, like even like the way, like even like what's been revealed by this pandemic, like how we even like there's going to be I think personally there's going to be way less people commuting to work even after we go back to normal. Way less people commuting to work, especially these guys that like work in cubicles that don't really necessarily need to be in a physical place in order to do their job.
Yeah.
Right. The ones that are getting their job done just fine without traveling right now. I think a lot of those jobs are going to remain the way they are now, where it's work from home.
That's another thing too, right? Because it's like with all this AI, if they're trying to replace people with AI, how are people supposed to make money?
I mean, that's the thing. Well, I have. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like with the AI thing, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually, in order for money to be made, there has to be productivity, right? And if artificial intelligence makes it possible for there to be higher productivity with less labor, I just think I think we do have to find a way to still compensate people and redefine their roles. You know, I know Andrew Yang came up with that thing of universal basic income, right? That's one proposal. But at the end of the day, like if automation can do the job better than us, then we should let it.
Just what would be the transition be for, right?
would be the transition?
For what?
Like what work would like what work would people do? Would it be more just just more of a technical thing, or?
I think there would be more creative, more work in the creative field as a result of all of the manual labor going away, because that's the one thing that AI, as of yet, can't replicate, right? It's creativity, right? So there'll be more people going into that space than there are right now.
I mean, what was your prediction, John?
Say some wild shit. Come on. So let me start. I think we might start getting those flying automobiles. Definitely. I'd say within the next 5 years. I say in the middle of
automobiles.
Yeah, so somewhere maybe if not in the middle, maybe towards the end of the decade. That's
Like
just
What makes you think that? What did you see that made you think that?
The Jetsons?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What did you see that made you think that?
I mean, I would love that. Look.
Like people are very innovative like nowadays, and also like right, because I know a lot of people predicted like by this time that we're supposed to have them. So I'm just pushing the prediction back 10 years.
But this isn't like an educated prediction. This is a guess.
Yeah. I think
this is a guess.
Yeah, we barely have electric cars. That's I don't know how you're going to say we're going to have automobiles. We barely have self-driving cars.
Yeah, because I would actually say that if we were going to see flying automobiles by 2030, we would have already started to see some of that infrastructure in place right now. We already have the infrastructure in place for self-driving cars and stuff like that. We're seeing those like electric stations or whatever popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's more, we know Elon Musk is working on something on these things, and other people, I'm sure, right? Mm-hmm. So we do have a basis for it. I think, I don't know, maybe
because the reason why I always bring this out there is just because of the innovation of how creative people are. Like we see it all the time. Like just simple things that people just creating dunks on Instagram, right? That just that matter. Like, dang, that was really creative. Or like, dang, that took a lot of time. Like there's people out there, right? People out there that are always trying to push the envelope, push to the next thing. Now, obviously, I'm just chatting, and this is just a complete guess, right? I could be right. I could definitely be wrong. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just like, obviously we don't know, and I just think that I don't know, something's about to happen in this 10 years, whether we start getting used to driving self-driving cars within the 5-year time period, whether everything mainly transitions to more of an AI base when it comes to more manual labor, or of an automated process.
I actually think, for some reason, I have a feeling that like once we're out of the woods in terms of coronavirus, there's actually going to be less travel. There's going to be less travel than what we're used to, instead of more. Because I think the regulations are just going to go up so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of screening that they would then have to do and things like that. There's just going to be it's going to be way harder to be able to to move from one place to another. That's just, I'm maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll come up with a way of mitigating that, but I just don't see us traveling the world as much as we used to.
I don't think so. When things open up, I feel like people are going to be tired. They're going to go out because like people are already out here moving now.
Yeah.
With the pandemic, people was flying at the beginning of the pandemic, going on vacation.
Yeah.
I seen a thing where somebody was performing at a concert, some girl, then like in a club, it was packed. Niggas in that bitch. So like, when once shit opens up, people are gonna go out.
You think so?
Yeah, because people are defying this stuff now. They're mad now that schools are closed. They try to go into places with no mask. If they're not gonna wear a mask, fuck a vaccine.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, but like, I think it kind of depends on how this thing plays out over the next few months. I mean, obviously, the last few months was a warning shot, right? We now have a second wave of this stuff. If there's going to be a third and a fourth wave, for example, I mean, knock on wood that doesn't happen, because that would be tragic, right? But if there's going to be more and more of these things of this popping up, I think people will become way, way, way more cautious. So, like, what happens between, like, with the coronavirus, I think is really going to inform how we do things, even once we think things are back to normal. You know?
I think, what you call it, because the deaths aren't going up right now as the cases, but like, so I think once, like, if we reach like a super high level of deaths, that's when people will start taking it seriously.
I mean, what would be a super high level of death?
I don't. It depends on. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, because right now we're at 250,000, but for some people they look at that like, yo, well, that's only 20,000 people. We have 300 million people in the country. They look at that and they say that's a small number. And in terms of people, that's not a small number.
Yeah, I think they're mistaken to look at it that way, because it doesn't actually matter how big the number is. It depends on whether or not the hospitals can handle it, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You know, if the hospitals can't handle it, then that creates a different problem to just COVID, because there's people that need to go to hospital for all sorts of different things, and they wouldn't be getting the level of care that they need, because there's all of this COVID stuff. So even if the number is relatively small, but it's big enough where the hospitals can't handle it, you know what I mean? It's just it causes crazy complications in these hospitals. But
even then, it won't matter because people can't see it. So they'll just dismiss it. Because even I was watching on YouTube, there was a doctor on the news, and she was saying that a patient she had still didn't believe it as they were dying of COVID. And they were saying, what you call it? Oh, let me call your family for you, trying to help them out. And they were like, no, if I'm going to beat this, this is nothing. They still didn't believe it was serious. They had it and they were dying of it. Like oxygen levels low, all type shit.
See, that's the scary shit, right? Like if you could be in the middle of dying from COVID and you don't, like, you're still in denial, that's something. I mean, because like, you would expect that, oh, if I had it, I would know, right? If I had it, I would know. But if it's not obvious enough to where you think you can actually beat it, and then you don't, that's a bit scary. That's a bit scary.
And another thing too is that you could have it and not know it. I think that's the main thing. Like, a lot of people have had it and they didn't feel nothing about it. Like, they look at it like it's not serious. I don't know. And people beat it. Like, a lot of people beating it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough.
But even the people that beat it, like, a lot of times have, like, on the back of it, have, like, new health complications.
Yeah, some of them, not all of them. There's been some like weird cases. Like people who've like beaten it 2-3 months later, they still don't have their sense of taste or smell.
Mm-hmm. And then also like the fact that the symptoms are so they're so different depending on the person, right? Like there's certain, like I remember seeing the story of Pink getting it, Pink the singer. And she says, like, a lot of the stuff that they tell you to look for, she didn't even experience, right? A lot of the stuff they tell you to look for. She felt shitty. She felt like she was sick, for sure. But, like, the symptoms didn't match what the CDC at the time was telling you to look at, was telling you to look for. So that's, I mean, it's a weird one, man. It's a weird one. And it's weird because it's tough. It's tough to even figure out how to take it seriously. Say you're taking it seriously, right? And you're really concerned about it. But, okay, you wear your mask, but what if you forget every once in a while to put it on? It just brings like a certain level of anxiety to things. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, but at the same time, I'm also like, people got to go on with their lives, especially with the government not giving you no money, no shit.
That's fact.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People gonna take that risk. Like, I mean, both of you guys are working.
That's the main problem. That government didn't prepare and they knew about it.
Yeah, $1,200 to last 8 months, essentially. Right? Is that how much? 1,200.
I don't know, but it's just like that. That's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Not if you're not working. I mean, luckily for me, like I haven't like, had to stop working. But yeah, that's a bit nuts.
Just like the disruption it puts on people's lives, just like people don't have this disruption for this long.
Yeah. It's in fact the collateral damage of it is maybe even worse than the virus itself, right? Because businesses have gone under. There's businesses that have gone under because they've not been able to open up.
But there's businesses that have gone up too.
No, forget business that go under. People are going under. They can't pay their mortgages. They can't eat. They're going to be homeless soon because these protections are going to go away.
Yeah, and then now what?
Then the same thing is right now, right? We just had an election. Instead of the people in Congress coming together and saying, "Yo, let's figure this out," they're still on vacation. They still bullshitting.
They're on vacation. Yo, bro, and like, come on, bro. Come on, y'all on our vacation, and then y'all want us to take y'all seriously? Like, y'all want us to put you in good graces? Y'all want us to take y'all seriously as a government?
Yeah, it's all nuts. Like the priorities of the leaders are so like they've just gotten left. It's like nobody. It's tough to respect people in government. It really is. It's really, really tough to respect them because I've seen, like, I'm sure you've experienced or been around true leaders, people that actually have leadership skills and know how to.
Bro,
lead.
think about your favorite basketball coach. Think about like it's bro.
Yeah.
There's examples everywhere, bro. Like to me, here's the thing,
hold on. You can't compare like a basketball coach to people in government.
Wait. Okay, you're right. You're definitely right. You're right. It's different roles, right?
Wait,
even in terms of leadership, I don't think you compare it.
I think you can.
I don't know because it's totally different.
It is totally different, but still, like I feel like there's a basis. There's a base.
Yeah, I think there are some things that are different, but a lot of things about leadership in general are pretty similar, right? Like if you look, like okay, let's not even compare him to the leader to a basketball player. Just compare him to a leader of the past, somebody like a Nelson Mandela. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that like. With somebody like Nelson Mandela, you knew what he stood for, and you respected him, and you knew he wouldn't waver from what he stood for. But like now, with a lot of politicians, they kind of pander. They pander. Even the ones that run on the platform of not pandering, still pander. Like Trump panders. OD. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the reason why he was elected was people thought that he would actually not pander. He may not pander to the same people that leaders of the past did.
No, he said he did, which is why I don't know why people voted for him.
Huh?
He said he did in one of his rallies when he was running in 2016. It was like, oh, this thing is so corrupt. They take money, and I know this because I used to pay them. So like. I don't know why people voted for him thinking he was going to change it.
Yeah, I mean.
And then he was taking money too. His corporations donated it too. And people who own these corporations donated it to him too.
Yeah. It's like he becomes whatever he needs in order for people to vote for. Like he had like evangelical Christians thinking that he was a Christian, bro.
And they didn't read a Bible. We didn't see this go to no churches. Like
they thought. I don't even know if they thought he was Christian or not, but like they were acting like this dude was actually. I think it's clear as day that he's. I think it's clear as day that he's atheist.
He's not Christian.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Donald Trump is reading the.
Even someone like Bush, you can see like he probably goes to church, or like you know what I'm saying. Mike Pence is clearly Christian. You could like check his record, but like Trump, nah.
All right, so here's another thing I want to get to. Just a personal thing for me, right? Because me, obviously, you guys know I'm a big thinker. I overthink, right? Sometimes, I think effectively, and sometimes I think inefficiently, right? It is what it is. I'm saying we are who we are. But the one thing I'm always a person who's always in the middle of things is right. Because yes, I have criticisms of how things should be done, but also at the same time, I understand until you've been in that position yourselves, it's hard, right?
I mean, yeah, but sometimes some of the decisions they make is like it's purely corrupt. You can't.
Oh, y'all heard me? Okay.
You can't just sit there and say like, "Oh, just because you in this position." Like some of that should just be common sense. Like, yo, you should be working for the people. There's nothing hard about it. They went through what you call it, going through trying to get Supreme Court justice or trying to block a Supreme Court justice. Nobody cares about the Supreme Court right now. That's the last thing Congress did before the election and vacation. There's nothing about being a government that should say, what happened to Collins? Oh. Yeah, there's nothing about that that's hard to me. You should be working for the people.
Yeah. Because here's the thing with me, right? Because I understand that the government has to make decisions that we're not going to like, right? It's not about pandering, but also at the same time, I understand people have interests and things like that, but if you're going to be elected for this position and the responsibility of that position is to putting the people first, and I don't know, for me, like that's another thing for me. Why, like when I was younger, I really wasn't a big fan of it because I just felt like it was just, the interests of the parties were bought off already because people are, obviously they're going on campaigns and people are sponsoring those campaigns, right? So let's say if I'm saying, Collins, I do a favor for you, right? And obviously you know how our relationship is. You're probably going to return that favor, correct? Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's just that, just that simple, but still, I feel like there are some vested interests that come before the people, and that's.
But it is that simple. That's what happens. These companies and people.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. It is that simple.
There's the actual law for it. They made a law. It's called Citizens United. Basically, what that did was it allowed companies to just say, "Yo, we have First Amendment rights too," and allow them to put unlimited money in politics.
Yes, man. There you go.
Also, another thing too, right? I think about, right? Because obviously people go on the news, right? It's just like people broadcasters criticizing, right? Athletes. I always keep this in mind just for me because I'm somebody I know that has made a lot of mistakes. How would you guys think at your peak, at your best, like you guys have all this requisite skills in order for you to do this job? How would you guys do at this is at your best, right? You have the political jargon down, right? You're sponsored, you move correctly, you understand politics. How do you guys think you would do as a president?
I think that's an impossible job. I think I wouldn't want to be president. I don't think, you know what, here's the weird thing. It's like the best qualified people for the job don't want it. They don't want it. And it's the people that want it that are the worst for it. Hello?
Yeah, I hear.
So you guys can
That's funny. I was just thinking about what you were saying. It was just pondering.
Yeah, like a lot of the people that are best qualified don't really want the job. They don't. Or if they do want the job, it's very likely they won't get elected because they may not win enough popularity to get elected. So that's the big thing. The fact that that's the downside of democracy. Democracy does become a popularity test a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily about who interviews the best for the job.
Yeah.
It's about who's the most popular. You know?
But it's kind of like that in real life too, I guess. Sometimes.
Well, it depends on where. Like, there are places that are genuine meritocracy. Politics is not one of them. You get there through relationships, and you get there through favors, essentially.
Yeah, but also I'm thinking about like all the jobs that I've gotten, right? I mean, all the jobs that you have gotten, have they been through like you knowing somebody, or have most of them been through? I just applied and they called me.
Me personally, all of the jobs are I've applied and they've called me. It's not because I've known anybody. The one I currently am, literally before I got this job, what I was doing is I was just applying in mass to every single place possible, and then one of them called me. Then I went in, and they hired me.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I think certainly at a pizzeria, you can't get away not being good for the job, because like the consequences of not being good at that job is immediate, right? You're gonna screw up somebody's order, and they're not gonna. You know what I mean? Like you receiving more business is at stake with every single order that you take.
Yeah.
But with the presidency, like the consequences of a decision today, you might not see it until months down the line.
Yeah.
And then you could look back and be, oh yeah, this is you made a mistake in January, and we now see it in March. Let's say, like even with like something like COVID, you know what I mean? Until the consequences are there, which might take a couple of months. You know what I mean? Like you don't actually know how the decisions are going to impact. You can have your speculation, but you don't actually know, like, okay, if we make a wrong move here, the consequences aren't. So that's what dilutes the meritocracy. Yeah, that's it for me anyway. And I think it's like that with most offices in politics. Like, in fact, not to jump around here, but like, what do you guys think about like the all the allegations about Kamala Harris and how she like her history with criminal justice specifically? I mean, Walter, do you know much about that?
I don't know a lot about it, but I mean, it's valid. If you're a prosecutor in the United States, there's definitely questionable things you've done just based off the way the system is, and there's been questionable cases she's been on. So it's definitely possible. Like, there was this one story, and I didn't look into it. Like it was a small part of the story, but it was more interesting to me than anything else. So like one of the people in Trump's, I think the Treasury Secretary. He was like a private person at a bank, whatever. Then he did some posts, whatever. And then the people was some of the people who wanted to get him prosecuted. And this was in California, and the person who was appointed to prosecute him at that time, who could prosecute him, was Kamala Harris, and she didn't prosecute him when everyone else wanted her to. And then come to find out, he donated to her campaign at that time.
Yeah.
Like, so there's questionable things on our record. That's what I'm saying. It's not like it's not all smoke.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the thing, right? It's like you cannot get, and this goes back to the whole meritocracy thing, right? You can't get to the position where you're a valid candidate to be in the highest office without blood on your hands. It's impossible. It's impossible. Like how can you be a clean, upstanding guy that is able to actually garner enough support for your campaign in order to actually stand a chance of being a president? How is it possible? Like,
I mean, all these people have skeletons in their closet, right?
Yeah.
So now,
they just know where they're better.
Some of them just be on the term of ethical, whether ethical, unethical, or just criminal. It just depends on how you view it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't understand how people even get so passionate about politics in the first place. This shit is funny to me.
No, it is. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, because you see it. You see it. It's so obvious. You know, the people, the powers that be are select. Like the fact that, like, who really had. So obviously, okay, Joe Biden was the Democratic candidate for president, right? Who was in charge of putting him in that position?
That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't us, right? Was it? Am I mistaken? Was it us?
So, like, yes and no. So, like, you vote for the primaries, but in the primaries, all the states have different rules, not the same rules. So, in New York, if you're registered as an independent, you can't vote in your primary.
Right, exactly. You can't vote in your primary if you're registered as an independent.
That's in New York. I don't know about all the other states. I just know about New York.
Okay.
And then also, the Democratic Party does fund and make favors and, like, cut deals. I'm going to say, yo, we think this person, based off, like, if they think they can win. So the party might say, whoever's in charge of the party, they might say, yo, we need you to drop out the race so you can be nominated for the presidency. And then we'll give you this cabinet position later on if he wins. So that's what happened when Obama ran for president. They told Hillary Clinton, listen, man, people want him. We think he's going to do good. He could beat him. We know he can win. If you drop out, we got a position for you. She became Secretary of State.
Yeah, you see, there you go. And you see that, like, these types of things is the reason why. This is the reason why. Go on, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like, this is the reason why I just think, like, this is where the libertarians do have a point, right? Where it's like, yeah, I mean, like, if you know, first of all, that the government will essentially make decisions by itself, right? They give you kind of a false choice.
Try to lock me in the room. Hello.
Yo, John, mute your mic, man.
Hi, so good about this. How you doing?
Yo, John, mute your mic.
Put it and then
Actually,
Mute the mic. Is it muted?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's noisy. It's noisy in that house, man. What was I saying? Yeah, but this is where, like, the libertarians do have, is what they basically say is, if you know that the government is basically making decisions that don't necessarily have your best interest at heart, then they should have less power than they currently do. And most of the power should lay in the private sector, right? Like, it should be in the free market, most of the power. Because at least the free market, the people control the free market, right? If you don't like a product, you don't buy it, and you vote with your dollars, right? So that means that the people that are competing for your dollars have to create something that you're going to actually buy. Where with votes, it's like, yeah, you're throwing your hat in the ring and you're voting for somebody, but you hope that they're going to represent you how you want to be represented. You know? And it's that whole thing.
I mean, I agree and I disagree, because the free market is not going to always do what's right, even if you give the people the choice of their dollars. Like, it's not that simple, right? So, a good example is the tobacco industry, where, I got a more recent example. The gas and oil industry, they knew about climate change the whole time. Like, even when they were saying it was long, they have reports saying, what they're doing and how they do stuff, and drilling and dumping oil. It's bad for the climate, but they just disregarded it and put it out there. So that's when the government needs to step in and, like, go in and they say, hey, you guys can't be doing this type of stuff. Free market always doesn't work. Even, like, with libertarian stuff like that, that mindset is kind of basic in terms of, like, their disregard for government intervention, because sometimes when it's needed, they're always there to block. For example, Rand Paul is, like, the biggest libertarian probably in the country. There was, I don't know if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there was some sort of protections for 9/11 first responders. Those people went like that first day, the first night digging and all that stuff during 9/11 to save people. The ones that survived and got sick of that, the government was paying for the medicine and it was running out. And Rand Paul stood up and said, "Yo, we need to worry about government debt and other stuff." He was like the only person that was saying, like, trying to block this from happening.
Wait, what was he saying? You were saying the government needs to what?
No, they shouldn't be like in people's lives and stuff like that. They're saying that we also have to worry about the deficit and other things. Like, he's basically trying to block it. That's why people don't like libertarians, because I don't know. They pick and choose.
Well, I mean, okay, so like here's the thing, right? Like I'm not truly familiar with that specific example, but obviously with the free markets, there's going to be right and wrong, right? There's going to be ups and downs, but like you can be a little bit more like obviously we're not calling for anarchy. We're not calling for no government, right? We're just calling for, or I say we. I'm not necessarily a libertarian, but I like to listen to the ideas, right? But like, it's not no government, limited, right? So maybe there are areas that the government can regulate and intervene, but it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be at the expense of the free market. It shouldn't be at the expense of because like a lot of times when government intervenes, it actually makes things a little bit more expensive. You know, like government subsidies in education, for example, make education more expensive. Right? They'll choose what schools. The government will basically choose what schools to subsidize, right? And then like, all the others, like instead of actually, you know what, education, we're going to regulate certain elements of it, but we're not going to limit the level of competition that's available in education. That way, there's more competition, and more competition drives the price down of schools. You know?
I don't know if it's like that simple, but so I'm not arguing for like more government intervention, but I'm also not arguing for completely or like mostly free market. I don't think like either one works, but I guess usually like I'm more let me see. I'm using more like an example that isn't like as drastic as like that. Like you look at the stuff like Amazon and Apple with these like how they're free market, they do what they want, but then there's competition sometimes too, which hurts the people also. If you have like so free market, smaller companies could be run under a completely only free market like way move or mostly free move. You know what I'm saying? Because Amazon and them, they have their power for these next few years going in to maneuver. Even they have this thing where like Amazon was trying to get into. Now they're trying to beat your pharmacy. They're gonna start selling medicine on Amazon. Like you can get your prescription from Amazon now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which actually might make prescription, what you call it, cheaper. So that's probably more for your argument, but it still goes into the more monopolistic on Amazon. You can sell you everything now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, I hear the monopoly argument a little bit, but like, it's not like Amazon is the only giant entity in the world. And if you actually look at the story of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, when he started it, like the fact that he was that somebody like him was able to come from where he started to where he is now, right? Shows the like, and he didn't have to like. It's not like Jeff Bezos had to do. Maybe he had to do some favors. Maybe like there's a lot of shadiness in his ascent to like the top, but it's that's not all it was. It's innovation.
No, I'm not arguing that. No, I'm just saying that, like, I don't know, like, I hear them, the argument always, like, yo, more free market, but I don't know if that's always the answer. Because we've seen where more free market leads to, sometimes it leads to bad decisions. Also, more free market can give you the illusion, but it could also hurt consumers or smaller businesses also.
It could hurt consumers and smaller businesses.
Because even like, for example, like on Amazon, when you buy something off there, and something happens, something the fact that when you get hurt from it, unless and Amazon with the seller, you can't sue. They'll say, "Yo, we just the marketplace. You can't sell us." So it's just like, you know what I mean? It's always like small stuff like that.
Okay, if you buy something defective off of Amazon, they're not required to compensate you.
Unless Amazon was the seller, because Amazon not always the seller. So you're buying it on Amazon, but most people look at it. They don't look at it like the sellers on Amazon. They just look at it as they're buying it from Amazon because that's how Amazon is. What you call it? Promoted. That's what they do.
But
if you seriously get into Amazon, right, Amazon will take more accountability. Even like how Amazon started with books now, publishers don't want to be on Amazon anymore. They say their competition.
But that's the thing. They do have the choice not to be on Amazon. They don't have to be. It's not. I don't buy everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't buy everything off of Amazon. And people don't, like, sellers don't have to sell everything. Like,
yeah, my bad about that.
People have personal brands. They have online stores. They have options. They don't have to use Amazon. They really don't. Right? So it's not a monopoly. It's not a monopoly because you can sell things online other ways. Right? And if Amazon screws up enough, and if its customer service is bad enough, it will not be as big as it currently is. It just won't.
I don't know. There's companies with bad customer service, but they're still big.
Well,
Right, name them.
Samsung don't got good customer service.
You said what?
Huh? Samsung don't got good customer service.
They did you dirty?
Well,
Look, if you break your phone right now, where you going to go get it fixed?
You got it. You're right. Because I'm thinking right now, eh?
So what needs to happen, yeah? What needs to happen is one of these other places, whether it be Apple, whether it be Google, or whether it be something that comes out of nowhere, has to come out with a different alternative that will give you better customer service and offer something as good as Samsung.
Apple has better customer service than Samsung. They still sell. That's what I'm saying. Like, what you call it? The concept that the people will choose with $1 isn't always the correct concept.
Well, look, it's not always going to be convenient.
Like, I don't know. Just the argument that I will make for free market is always too simple for me.
You think it's too simple?
Yeah, just like, if this company doesn't do good, they'll just go somewhere else.
Well, yes. I mean, but it is that simple.
It's not always. There might not be that option in different places. That's what I'm saying. Like, it might not be.
But Walter, do you believe because of
Samsung is not a monopoly?
I didn't say they were.
But okay, if they don't have good customer service, you can go somewhere else.
I know, but you're bringing up a specific example. I'm just saying overall, it's not always going to work like that.
Wait, so Walter, wait. Walter, I'm guessing you're arguing for the side of what happened, or the realistic side of it, causes, or I guess arguing or bringing up the side of what should happen or the more logical.
No, he was talking about free market versus regulation. I'm saying I'm not on the side of one or the other. Like, people are on the side of one or the other. I'm saying it's not.
We need balance
on one side or the other side. It depends. It's very nuanced.
We need balance.
Even with. And I don't even know this is about a balance, because I'm sure if you look into different fields or sectors, it's different how you have to play it. Some should be more regulated. Some should be more free market.
So it's not black and white. It's very gray.
I'm not against all regulation. I'm not arguing against regulation. I'm just arguing for more of a free market system.
But that's what I'm saying. When you argue for more of a free market system, what do you mean? Like, because we're not just one market. There's multiple markets. Some more need more free. Some don't need more free.
All right, so Walter, which ones need to? Do you feel like need to be a little bit more free? They need to loosen the grip.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't make those arguments. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. Like, I don't think you should always make the argument. If you're gonna make that argument, say which markets you feel like should be free, more free, and why.
Well, that's the thing. I think, unless you have an alternative, I think certainly I've brought up education a lot of times. I think education would be a lot more affordable if there was more options, right? I think it would be more affordable. I just do, right? I think that the government runs education very inefficiently, right? And I think if we had more innovation in the sector of education, we would have better education. Right.
But what does that mean? That's what I'm saying. When you say more less government regulation, like what regulation do you think they shouldn't be? That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Like, for example, in a lot of public schools, right, the curriculum is set. Right? The curriculum is set for you. And essentially the a teacher should have more autonomy to teach the class because the teacher is the expert, right? The teacher is the expert. The teacher is the person with he's the educator. So like, for me, I just think like if you just give the teacher a syllabus and you say you got to teach them this, right? That's a function of the government. That's not a function of the teacher. The teacher would rather teach in his own style. He would rather teach. And if he's a bad teacher, then less and less students should want to attend his class. And he should make less and less money as a result of being a bad teacher. If he's a good teacher, he should make more and more money as a result of being. Right now, the regulation means all teachers are paid pretty much the same, pretty shitty. And like the syllabus is put forth by a regulating body. And I don't think that's correct. I think there should be more flexibility there. That's one, but there's others. I mean, you can even talk about cell phone companies. You know, like I just think, okay, there's two major players that we currently have, right? We have Apple and we have Apple. Before we had this huge technological boom, we had lots of them. We had Nokia, we had Samsung, we had Sony Ericsson. We had so many, right? That you could choose whatever you had a plethora to choose from. You know what I mean? Nokia added, you could play games on the Nokia. So everybody wanted the Nokia because you could play Snake on the Nokia. And then all the other phones started to put games on their phone. And then, so that people would buy their phone. Things like that. Like, I just believe that, like, your dollars, you should have an option on where to spend your dollars. And that's the best way to, like, really set up your life to work for you rather than just things being regulated down where you don't really you have a false choice. You don't actually have a choice.
All right, so for the second part with the cell phones, there was no regulation of government in that. Why there's no more choices of cell phones? That happened because of the free market. There's only Samsung, Apple, and Google. Because guess what? So now if you like the Sony phone, you like them, they still make them, but they're not as popular. They don't promote them. They're the free market. They got the ad in them. So that's one example of how it goes. But as far as the education thing, you could easily still have the regulators just make sure they're actual educators. And also, we know that there's bad teachers that have been in schools for a long time. So just because you say they shouldn't go to their class, they get paid lower, that doesn't mean anything. I'm sure you can go to your school right now. It's the same bad teacher that was there from the beginning of time.
But like, okay, so like, shouldn't that teacher not make as much money as a good teacher?
Huh?
Should that teacher be making the same amount of money as somebody who is an excellent educator?
I don't know if they make the same amount of money or not. I don't think all teachers make the same amount of money.
Well, they don't? I mean, is it like, how does it work? Does it work like the NBA, where if you're the star player, you get paid more, and if you're not the star player, you don't get paid as much? Is that how it works?
I'm sure it depends on the plethora of things: performance, class size, school district, a whole bunch of other things. Like
performance.
Like, the reason why something isn't bad isn't always because of government regulation or free market. Like there's a plethora of things. That's why I'm saying like some of those arguments to me are too simple.
Okay.
Because even like right now, like before the person in charge of education actually was a teacher in Obama's cabinet. In Trump's cabinet, she wasn't.
Hello?
Yeah? You heard what I said?
Yeah, you cut out. You cut out.
My bad. I was saying that what you call it. I'm the Treasury Secretary under Trump's cabinet isn't a teacher, but under Obama's was.
Okay. So there you go, right? So the president is there for 4 years, 8 if he's lucky, right? And he picks his cabinet, and the people are or are not competent, right? So if you have a good president, you probably have a good cabinet, and the cabinet will be full of people that are experts. But those people aren't chosen by the people, and they're not chosen in terms, they're chosen by the president. They're chosen by the person. You kind of trust the president to choose the right combination of people to be in that cabinet. But what if they don't? The quality of education just goes down. And then it comes
I don't know if the quality of education went down. I don't know if it changed or nothing like that. I wasn't in school, right? But
no, again, I mean, but you would think like if the person who is in charge of education is not themselves an educator and is maybe in that position because of the relationships he has, then he's not going to make the quality of decisions that an educator would, right? And the fact that like that is put in the hands of government and somebody who, even though like look, the president is the president, but we know that the president doesn't have a handle on every single aspect of everything, right? So they will make certain poor selections in terms of who should be in charge of this department versus that, right? So like wouldn't it undermine the entire pyramid of education if the person at the very top is incompetent?
I don't know. It depends on what they're trying to do. So based off like what the Trump Secretary of Education is trying to do, there hasn't been like any major policies I've seen to like publicly. The things he's trying to do is one, make sure that people pay back their student loans, and make it like people like to go after them more and stuff like that. Allow companies, private schools to go after them. Then she's trying to build more charter schools. I don't know if she made anything to more like public education. First time they've been doing like private, making more private schools, more public education schools, stuff like that, like charter schools. That's what she's trying to do.
She's trying to make. Wait, she's trying to make
more charter schools more available. Like people go to more charter schools.
And the charter school is?
I don't know exactly what it is.
Is it a private school or public?
I think they're like private schools, but like they sometimes the public kids can go there. I don't know exactly what they are. Let me look it up right now.
Okay.
Yo, so they receive government funding, but they operate independently.
Well, they receive government funding, they operate independently. But you see, the government funding is the thing that, like, because as soon as like the government subsidizes, it means that thing can exist, or maybe not in all cases, but certainly in some cases, it means that it can exist without necessarily, regardless of performance, regardless of whether it's doing a good job, right? Like if something turns a profit, I'm not saying that everything that turns a profit is necessarily good for society, but if something isn't turning a profit, then I think it should go out of business. Or if something needs constant subsidy, it should go out of business.
No, but what this is saying is basically like they would be funded by the government, but they can set their own rules. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm basically saying when it says you see government funded but operate independently of the school systems.
Operate independently of the school system?
Yeah, so it says a charter school is a school that receives government funding but operates independently of the established state school system in which it's located. So they're getting government money, but they don't have to follow government rules.
Well, that's good.
Is
That's
it?
good. I mean,
But now it depends on who do you put to teach the school.
They're gonna get XEL professors.
Right. So
but like, okay, so it's a double-edged thing, right? Like, obviously, as soon as you're receiving money from the government, I mean, you might say, like, look, these charter schools might say that, yeah, we don't follow the government rules even though we get their money. They still know where their bread is buttered, right? So the government
yeah,
can make certain suggestions and almost threaten to cut funding for these schools. Right?
exactly.
They're not really
That's
independent.
so
They're
so
not
like that right there proves my point where like one or the other to decide isn't the way to go. It depends on what sector you're in, what you're talking about.
So Walter, wait, quick question. You?
Yeah, what's the question?
All right, no, I didn't know whether you could hear me or not. No, so basically, what I'm getting from what you're saying is that we have to consider that everything is not just black and white, and there's a lot of gray that has to be considered when all these decisions are being made. Am I correct?
I mean, yeah, but more so like when you argue for these points, you just gotta actually like explain them out and just stating like, oh, if it's more government regulation means more protection or more free market means better quality products and stuff like that, because it might not always mean that. And like,
Yeah,
you should be more specific.
So the person should be specific and really pinpoint right the issue instead of looking at it as a more of a broad.
Yeah, because
or generalizing.
I'm not like I don't mean to ignore the nuance. Obviously, there's nuance, right? And obviously, like maybe as I'm saying a bunch of this stuff, there's going to be a lot of people that are cringing. But like if you like if there is a different perspective, or if you have an example that that like flips what I have to say on its head, I'd like to hear it. But like for me, I just think a lot of times, maybe not all the time. I'm not saying no government. I'm saying small, right? So what is government? I mean, government's role is to regulate. So if I'm saying that it's good to have a government, then I think regulation is actually a good thing. But the level of regulation is what I'm arguing against. Yeah, the level.
But like, how far back do you want to cut it? That's what I'm asking. Like, what are the examples? Like, why do you think it's so far? Like, what?
Like, okay.
Because when you talk about regulations, it depends on each side, right? So like a lot of these regulations Trump moved, they might have been restricted, but just because they're restrictive and it like make lose money doesn't mean it's not important. So like a lot of the environmental protections are important regulations we need.
A lot of the what?
Environmental protections that we have, like don't dump stuff in the water, stuff like that. But Trump removed them. He said they were restricted to go to to these companies.
Okay, so maybe what I need to explain is what I believe the function of the government should be, right? The function of the government, in my opinion, should be to protect our freedom to pursue happiness, right? And so like if we don't have an environment, or if our environment is in danger, then there should be the government should step in that instance, right? It should step in if our life is threatened, or our freedom to pursue our own ends is threatened. But if it's not if like our freedom to pursue our own end is not threatened, then the government should stay out of it. Right? The government shouldn't just come in and try and regulate things that they don't need to regulate.
So what are they regulating that they don't need to regulate?
I mean, I've mentioned a couple of examples there, but
so what government regulations right now like affect your life right now?
Well, government regulations. Okay, so I think for example, like if you look at certain places, right? Certain places don't pay federal taxes, right?
Income tax, yeah.
Income tax, right? Like things like that. Because I just think,
But wait, that's not a federal thing. That's a state thing, and each state is different. There might be a reason why one state needs to pay income tax, one doesn't.
I mean, but like that's true. But like, okay, so there's certain places, for example, that won't have so in America they have the whole thing of no taxation without representation, right? So the places that don't get represented, Puerto Rico or even Washington D.C., I don't think you have to pay a federal, right? You still have to pay a state tax, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
in DC? In DC, you probably do, but I don't know about like Puerto Rico and other places like Guam or whatever.
Yeah, I mean the only reason why I think in DC you don't is because they all have the whole on the license plates they all say no taxation without representation. So I thought maybe they don't pay any taxes.
No, they do pay tax. That's why they have the license plate.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so the level of taxation is basically it, right? The idea that somebody, there's a percentage of my money that gets taken away from me because I don't make too much money. Or for example, if I'm working overtime, I make more money, but the government takes more of it because I'm working overtime, because of how tax brackets work and this, that, and the other, right? Like that, I think, is robbery, right? And that's a form of government regulation, right? Where I'm working hard. I'm trying to make all of this money, and I want to be able to spend that money. I want to have control of that. But they can take it away. They can take it away and use it for whatever they want to use it. Where I think if the money was in my hand, I could take care of myself and my family and my community a lot better than what you can, because you're so far removed from myself, my family, my community. You're not here. Right, you're over there making decisions for me, and it's that whole thing. I think my main thing is basically taxation. Right, there should be lower taxes, and it's the taxation that higher taxes means higher. Maybe I'm being simplistic here. You can correct me if I am, but it seems higher taxes means higher regulation. Because the reason why you raise taxes is so that you can.
Yeah, I mean, taxes is a form of regulation, but the thing with me for taxes is basically, I won't care if they're higher. Only problem is they don't actually do anything for the people. There's no actual thing that they do.
Exactly.
That's the problem. But if there was higher taxes, but people get good health care, they can send their kids to school for free, stuff like that, then I wouldn't have no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem with higher taxes is basically how the government spends tax dollars.
Well, not
right.
Well, the problem with higher taxes is that the people don't get to choose what they do with it. On your taxes, when you do it or when you vote, you should be able to choose these things. You should be able to choose certain things you want to vote on.
Okay. So isn't that a problem?
Huh?
If I have my money, if I have my money in my pocket, I can choose what to do.
Yeah.
If I don't have my money in my pocket, I cannot choose what to do with it. Isn't that a problem?
I mean, yeah, but the government is saying that's their money, so Yeah.
It is a problem.
But then what's the regulation that you would take? No taxes? We pay no taxes? Or just lower taxes? It'll still be the same thing. Even if you lower taxes, doesn't mean they're going to get a use of them.
Huh?
Even if you lower taxes, it doesn't mean we're going to get better use of the taxes. Because even now, with Trump, he came in, he lowered taxes, but he lowered taxes for the rich more. For the regular people, it was only for a short amount of time. Then it goes up for most of the middle class people and lower class people. But the rich people, it stayed low, cut taxes low.
Would I say no taxes? Some people would. Some people would say no taxes.
No,
right?
but what I'm saying to you is like this right now. Like when Trump came in, his tax bill cut taxes, right? But for the middle class, it goes up after a certain amount of time. It doesn't stay low. But the rich people stays low. It doesn't go back up for them.
And that's based off of what capital gains versus income tax, right?
No, I think that's, I don't know exactly, but in his tax, that's Trump's tax when he cut taxes for the middle class and poor people, it was only cut for like a few years. Then it goes back up.
Yeah, but middle class and poor people pay income tax.
No, I'm talking about tax. I don't know if it's income, but even just in general, why would it go for them and not the lower people?
I mean, that is what it is. It's income tax that middle class and poor people pay because they go to work. They go to work, and when you go to work and make an income, you pay income tax. But,
so you agree that their taxes should have went up and the rich people should have just stayed low?
Well, it's a problem with the income tax. It's a problem with the income tax.
But, because they're supposed to pay income tax too. No, but rich people are supposed to pay income tax too. Just because they don't do 40 hours a week, they still collect income.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you guys know that there's different ways to get around taxation when you have if you're in the business of money, if you're a financier, or if you know how to put your money in the right places, you can actually circumvent the idea of income tax, right? Through your investment.
So is that a good thing? That's what I'm saying. Because income tax is supposed to be used for the people of the country. So a large amount of people are taking the money out where there's people who might need the money the government spends. Sometimes, maybe it's not the government isn't spending the money incorrectly. They just don't have all the money because those people are dodging the income tax.
So the question becomes: well, you asked me, should rich people pay income taxes?
No, so they pay less than poor people.
Should they pay less income tax than poor people?
Whether you want to do it by percentage or by actual amount, should they pay less than poor people? They make more.
They make more. Should they pay less? Well, technically, rich people certainly by amount they pay more tax than poor people, right? But by
the percentage is different.
By percentage, it's lower. I mean, I think that's a problem with the income tax. I think
so there should be zero income tax for everywhere.
Yeah.
But see, you can't make the argument you didn't study and know the consequences of zero income tax.
Well, what are the consequences?
I don't know, but do you know the consequences?
Well, no, but this is my opinion right now. Well, look, I might not have all the information. I might not have all the information. And if somebody does have all the information and wants to change my mind about it, I'm open to it. But with the information that I have now, it doesn't make much sense, right? And if somebody can make it make sense for me, then that would be great. And if you have a couple of examples that would make it make sense for me, that would be great. But you don't have to have all the information to have an opinion.
Yeah, but you should. But if you're gonna sit there and say, "Yo, there should be zero income tax," and have no information to if that's good or bad, why would you make that point? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, people shouldn't do.
I'm doing it. Look, I don't have all of the information, right? I don't, right? I'm putting it out there. So this is my opinion from the perspective of somebody that doesn't have all of the information, right? But for me, the way I see it in my mind, not being in government, not being deep into how they decide whether or not to tax people, is my money is most effective when it's in my pocket. If you take my money, I have to then trust you to use it as well as I would or better. If I can't trust you to use it as well as I would or better, then it's better that my money stays in my pocket. And if that's what income tax is, and that's how I understand it, then I stand by what I said. Now, if somebody has something else to bring to the table that will make me see things in a different way, I'm open to hearing it. But until such a time, I do have my opinion.
Yeah, you can have your opinion, but what I'm saying is on a more national discourse, which people have, right?
Mhm.
If you're saying making these ideas, saying we should push for these ideas of less regulation like that, but you don't have the actual data and facts to do it, that's a dangerous thing, and that was my whole point this whole time.
I mean, it's almost impossible to have all of the relevant information to make all of.
I'm not saying all the information, but you should have a good majority of the information to lay it out.
So, like, okay, so where are the holes? What are the what information do you think I don't?
Because if you're saying there should be zero income tax, what is the consequence of zero income tax? Like, there has to be a consequence. You have to know like what
A negative consequence?
Huh?
Negative consequence? Well, I would.
Yeah.
Okay, so the negative consequence that I perceive, again, we're a bunch of morons talking about stuff that we don't really know fully much about, right? We're just spitballing here. We don't have
Not even fully. We have little understanding, which is why I say we shouldn't make these ideas with little understanding.
Of course we should. We can discuss these ideas. Or we can have opinions over these ideas. Of course we can.
I don't know. To me, if you sitting there saying we should definitely do this, we don't have the opinion.
I'm not a world leader. I'm not the person responsible for making these decisions. All right. So there's no consequence to me having an opinion. There isn't one.
It is because listen, they don't want to listen to the people. That's why all these Republicans started with Trump during the time they didn't.
Well, I mean, look. Yes, you're right that people,
and also
have an influence. Look, you're right that people talking have an influence over what other people think. Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be impossible for people like me and you to have all of the relevant information needed to make all of these decisions. I could be completely wrong about everything that I'm saying, right? But I can only speak with the information that I have right now. And with the information that I have right now, that's, that seems logical to me. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm not a regulator, man. I'm not in the government. I'm not doing this work. If somebody
I'm not saying like to have the technical information, but like there should be some stuff like where like based off this, like you should pull up some stuff that says like back to your thing. That's what I'm saying. Like because when people have these conversations with on Facebook, that's how disinformation spreads. Because then you said that's your opinion. People turn their opinions into facts.
Well, that's them. That's them. Honestly,
No.
like if you like, okay, so let me say this right now.
Walter, repeat that one more time for the people in the back. Walter, repeat that one more time for the people in the back. That was important.
No, I'm saying people turn their opinions into facts. And I'm not saying, like, when I say you, I'm talking about in general. You shouldn't say, like, advocate for ideas if we don't have information to support and back up ideas.
Well, I'm not really necessarily. I have an opinion as to maybe how things should be, but like.
But here's my thing: based off your opinion, shouldn't you go find information to see if it's right?
Hold on. Well, yes, I would look. That's why I'm saying, if somebody has superior information to me,
but no, not somebody. You go find it. That's what I'm saying. This is your argument. You're saying.
But here's the thing: I can go research, but because I have an opinion, right, and I'm fully aware of it, I will have a bias. Right? So like I can get off of here and go research and find all of the supporting evidence of what I'm saying, and there's plenty of it. Plenty of people who have the same opinion that I have, that have more information than I do. And I'll find those, and I can find those people, and I can find those sources, and I can present them, but it will still be one-sided. It will still maybe be one-sided because of my bias, right? So like that's why I'm saying, like, it's not just look. I understand that there's another side that, and I'm not necessarily even saying that socialism in all cases is bad. There are certain there's some countries that seem to run perfectly well under somewhat of a socialist system, right? Where they pay high taxes, but in return they get superior education, superior healthcare. Finland, places like that, that do have it, right, and can manage it well, right, and the citizens seem to be happier for it. There are examples to the contrary of what I'm saying, right? But me personally, the way I see it from the perspective of Collins, I just think that my money is most effective in my pocket, not in anybody else's pocket. It's most effective in if I want to give to charity, if I want to, whatever it is I want to do with my money, I think it will be most effective in my pocket. If it's in somebody else's pocket, they're so far removed from me that they don't really know what I require. So how can they facilitate it? That's what my perspective is. Now, there might be pros and cons to having a free market system, and I'm willing to admit that there might be pros and cons, right? But at the same time, I just think I think if we wait for that to have all of the information in order to have a valid case, I think we'll be waiting a very long time. I'd be willing. Look, here's the thing. I think the most important thing isn't actually to have all the information before you have an opinion. The most important thing is to be open-minded enough to having your opinion changed by new information. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You have to get. I wasn't saying like go get more. I'm saying if you're gonna make up something, also present information, but you have to be open to counter information. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not arguing for either because I don't know enough to even argue for either one. I'm not saying because John said it's black and white. I don't know if it's black and white. It could be 4 sides, 5 sides. I don't know, which is why I'm not making an argument for anything.
No, Walter. I'm saying it's not black and white. It's really gray, very gray.
I don't know if it's gray either. That's what I'm saying. I'm not making an argument for any of them, which is why I'm saying like if you're gonna make an argument, there has to be some information you got to come with.
Okay.
Well,
but yeah, that was my point.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's bring it back to sports. Yeah. Let's say obviously in sports, if you have a team, they play a certain system, right? They play a certain system, and I can only speak about soccer because that's what I know. But you guys can substitute where it makes sense, right? So say there's a system 4-2-3-1, right? Right? If I'm somebody that favors a 4-2-3-1, right? Given all of the information that I have about what kind of numerical advantage that it has, this, that, and the other, right? If somebody else comes up to me and says, actually, a 4-3-3 is superior to a 4-2-3-1, I'm allowed to disagree with that until they present me with different information, right? But I can still argue for a 4-2-3-1, or I can still argue for I don't know. You can substitute for whatever whatever thing. But I'm just saying just having an opinion isn't a problem. Having an opinion is not a problem, right? Or
no, but having an opinion is not a problem. Speaking of the opinion as a fact is a problem.
100%. I don't think my opinion is a fact. I don't think it is. But I just think when the information that I have is ran through my brain, this is how I see it. All right. And I have somewhere to stand. It doesn't mean that there's no other alternative. It just means that, okay, my mind is here, change my mind. I'm open-minded enough for you to come up to me and say, actually, you know what, we have all of this information that runs counter to what it is that you're trying to argue for. You might want to take a look. And if I look at it and it's compelling, then I'll change my mind. I'll come here next week. I'll come here next week and be like, yeah, you know what? I used to be very, very strong into free market capitalism, but now, you know what? I think it's more regulation is maybe slightly better, right? Because of this 2 or 3 pieces of new information that I now have that I didn't have before. Fair enough. But it's not like, I just don't see it as a problem. I don't even think it's problematic to stand to have like a definitive perspective, even with limited information. I don't think it's problematic to do that.